Updated guidelines for spectator events in Washington. Vaccinated sections could have full capacity.
Counties across Washington now face new evaluations for COVID restrictions. The data was pulled today, but by this time tomorrow, we'll know if we're headed back to phase 2.
Cloud cover right now, but we're tracking more sunshine on Tuesday. That and the rest of your work week forecast is coming up.
Well, new in the past hour, the FDA is expected to authorize Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for young adults ages 12 and older by next week. The announcement is set to come barely a month after the company found that its shot, which is already authorized for those ages 16 and older, also provided protection for the younger group. Shots could begin after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention adopts the committee's recommendations. We'll keep you posted on that.
We also have an update now to that breaking news we first told you about at 4 o'clock. 2 lanes of eastbound I-90 are back open now. That's following a multi-car crash this afternoon. Now the Department of Transportation is reopening the Monroe and Walnut on-ramps. Those eastbound on-ramps were closed while the crash was being cleared.
Washington State Patrol has also confirmed to us the cause of the crash was due to a backup on Division because of construction that stretched to I-90. An elderly woman was injured, but WSP says her injuries are non-life-threatening. Drivers should still expect delays while I-90 gets back up to speed, as you can see. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Good to have you here tonight. Our big story at this hour, Governor Jay Inslee announced new guidelines just a few hours ago for spectator events as well as religious and faith-based organizations.
Under the new guidelines, a vaccinated section can be seated at full capacity at churches and spectator events. KREM 2's Ian Smay is live at Union Stadium in Meade tonight to talk about the updated guidelines. Ian?
We are at Union Stadium, where Gonzaga University plans on holding an in-person graduation this weekend. Now, the main change after Inslee's announcement is new capacity rules regarding separate sections for vaccinated and unvaccinated people. Outdoor facilities can now add vaccinated sections until their capacity hits 50%, or 22,000 people, whichever is less. When it comes to indoor facilities, it depends on what phase the facility's home county is in. Vaccinated sections can be added to indoor facilities until they reach 50% capacity, or 2,000 people, whichever is less. For those in phase 2, a vaccinated section cannot exceed 200 people, and for those in phase 3, that limit is raised to 400 people. I told Spokane's interim health officer, Dr. Francisco Velasquez, about Inslee's announcement earlier.
But I think the goal is really not necessarily to segregate those that are immunized, but to really encourage all that can to get immunized.
Velasquez also said he thinks that Inslee's decision will help encourage more people to get vaccinated so they can once again participate in large events. He also says that continuing to vaccinate as many people as possible will be key in getting Spokane's COVID-19 numbers down and beating the current spike we are seeing. He added that he thinks the cases we are seeing now are no longer from events such as the NCAA tournament, spring break, and Easter weekend. But even with the events now in the rear view, he still thinks it may be a number of weeks before Spokane gets back to satisfying the current phase 3 metrics.
If you think about it, we have trended in the wrong direction for quite some time. Although we saw a slight improvement for about a week, but we just spiked up again. So it'll probably take us a few weeks to get back to the rates that are required for phase 3.
Velasquez said that in addition to vaccinating more people, it will be important for the public to follow health guidances and to limit gatherings to beat the current spike. Now, this comes just a day before Inslee is set to announce which counties are going to be rolling back to phase 2. Velasquez told me earlier that he hasn't seen or heard anything from the governor's office that would suggest Inslee is planning a pause on rollbacks for counties not meeting the current metrics. In Meade, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
All right, Ian, thank you very much. So tomorrow morning, we know that is when we will expect to hear that update from Governor Jay Inslee about which counties could move back or forward in phases.
So we won't know for sure until that announcement is made, but we can get an idea of our odds right now. Our Casey Decker is breaking down that data for us tonight. And Casey, how's it looking?
Well, Mark, simply put, not great. We know we've had bad numbers for most of the last month, and those trends don't seem to have gotten much better in the last few days. Now, by this point, most of you are probably familiar with the requirements to stay in phase 3. We just need to meet one of these two metrics. Either have fewer than 200 COVID cases per 100,000 people over a 2-week span, or have fewer than 5 COVID hospitalizations per 100,000 people over a 1-week span. Now, we were told by the governor's office last week that those spans will both be up to and including yesterday, Sunday. So, how are we faring? Here's what the Spokane Regional Health District data says. They report 1,505 cases in the 2-week span between April 19th and May 2nd. Now, given the population of Spokane County, that's a case rate of 287.9, obviously way over the limit. So it looks pretty clear we will not be meeting that threshold. So what about hospitalizations then? Well, SRHD reports 28 new hospitalizations in the 1-week span between April 26th and May 2nd. It's a countywide rate of 5.35, so a little bit closer to our target than cases are, but close doesn't really mean much here. We need to be under 5, and from this data, it appears we will not be. Now, a couple of important facts to point out when looking at this data, some qualifiers here, the biggest one being we don't actually know for sure if the data that the state is using will be the same as the data that SRHD is reporting. In the last county evaluation, the data did not match up. SRHD told us they weren't entirely sure why, and we're going to work on remedying that with the state. But for those who are hoping that maybe the data will be wildly different enough to prevent a return to phase 2, you should know that last time the state data was actually worse for Spokane County than the health district data. And similarly here, the state could end up using different date ranges or different population figures than we did, but it all seems pretty unlikely that any of that would make much of a significant difference. So unless Inslee moves the goalpost tomorrow, which for what it's worth is something he's done several times before, it's not looking good for Spokane County. Odds are we will be going back to phase 2 on Friday. In the newsroom, Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
Casey, thank you very much. In the meantime, we do know the University of Washington is requiring students on all 3 of its campuses to be vaccinated against the coronavirus before the start of the fall quarter. They are now joining WSU and other state universities to require students to be vaccinated before they can ever come back to campus. Students will also need to verify those vaccinations. There are exemptions, though, for medical, religious, or philosophical differences. If students are not able to get vaccinated where they currently live, the university will also provide vaccinations to students once they arrive back on campus.
Switch gears for a moment to talk weather. It was a great start to the work week here in the inland Northwest. Want to get straight to meteorologist Tom Sherry. And Tom, temperatures kind of going to be all over the place this next week, right?
Yeah, I think we've got cloud cover right now, and we've got some showers occurring up to the north of us and a little to the west. But we'll see the sun return for us again on Tuesday. So here we go. Take a look at this. We've got the sunshine Tuesday, mid to upper 60s expected. Partly cloudy skies on Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures going into the 70s. And then we'll look for showers to develop Thursday night into Friday, and then cooler for the weekend. We'll show you that just a little bit. So here's a look at the Doppler radar, and you can see the rain that is occurring up in areas of northeastern Washington, northern Idaho, and then a lot of rain over on the west side of the state. But keep in mind, we still think we're going to see sunshine return tomorrow. Right now we're at cloudy skies, 62 degrees. You can see the wind right now is out of the west-southwest at 17 miles per hour. We take a look at your day planner forecast. Decreasing clouds this evening, becoming mostly clear overnight. Sunshine tomorrow. Should be a beautiful day. If you like today, you'll like tomorrow. 67 the expected high. And then for the weekend, I've got, again, a chance of a few showers Saturday and Sunday. Right now, just a 20% chance of those showers. And we'll look for temperatures to get closer to normal by Sunday, I should say. We'll look for a daytime high of 63 degrees. I'll have a look at your 7-day forecast, all coming up in a few minutes.
Sounds good, Tom. We'll talk to you then. Spokane is hiring. There are signs nearly everywhere with local shops seeking new employees, but so far few people seem to be interested in applying for these jobs. Spokane business owners told our Amanda Rowley this employee shortage could have something to do with people earning more on unemployment, but we're taking a deeper look into why people are just not looking for work. One local economist says the decision not to go back to work right now is being complicated by a couple of factors.
It's been challenging finding associates to come either back to work or new associates to come and work at the Davenport.
It's a national issue. And again, it seems to be more focused in industries that were low pay to begin with.
It's also been popular opinion that people aren't looking for jobs. They aren't returning to work just because that maybe that unemployment check is a lot more than they would be getting working. Is that true at all?
So to find out why some people are not looking for work right now, you'll want to join us tonight at 6 o'clock for our full KREM 2 investigation.
Well, it is the